This episode contains discussions of domestic violence, psychological abuse, grooming of minors, and suicide. Listener discretion is advised. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE. If you're having thoughts of suicide, please call or text 988 to reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Help is available 24 hours a day. Previously on The Signature.
It's an ocean of grief following the mysterious death of a pastor's wife.
He told our children she was possessed, speaking in tongues, seeing demons.
He owned her. That's what he felt like.
He's been tracking her for years.
Okay, what's going on? We have a dead body in our pool.
I said, oh my God, don't tell me.
I believe that the whole thing was premeditated. It is as if she was placed there.
I don't want to lose myself in this, and I don't want to pursue anything out of anger, vengeance, or anything like that.
And the crime stopped.
The theory of suicide does not add up to me.
If I end up with a bullet in my head, it was not by me. It was JP.
April 27th, 2024.
Robeson County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
I'm about to kill myself, and I just want my family to know where to find me.
Okay, ma'am. Just listen to what I'm saying, okay?
This was Mica Miller's final 911 call. For months, she had been trapped in an escalating nightmare. Razor blades strategically placed in her tires, GPS trackers discovered on her car, a March restraining order detailing years of alleged abuse that began when she was just 14. 2 days earlier, she had served divorce papers. It was her second attempt to escape.
From a capability standpoint, it's very easy to generate that voice. And
this is Dr. David Przygoda, one of the world's leading experts in AI voice technology.
Yeah, I would tell you, I listened to the call once. Is it possible? Absolutely, yes.
We've all heard of artificial intelligence, how it's reshaping our world in ways we barely comprehend. But today, we confront something far more sinister. What if Mica Miller's final words, her desperate cry for help, weren't actually hers at all?
I just want my family to know where to find me.
If you have access to more audio of a person, it's easier to do that clone and it would be more convincing.
The technology to clone a human voice has become disturbingly accessible. In 2024, artificial intelligence needs just 30 seconds of clear audio to create a perfect replica, capturing every breath, every pause, every emotional inflection.
But if it was a clone, it would be a really high quality clone. You need a pretty significant data set. So for example, if you're a blogger or a YouTuber and you have lots of videos where you're doing narrations or lots of home videos or someone recites a speech, the longer that speech is, the more data you put into these models, the better they are. So that was interesting to me.
So according to Dr. Przygoda, to create the perfect voice clone, one capable of capturing the raw emotion of that final 911 call, you would need much more than just a few seconds of audio. You would need recordings of genuine desperation, vulnerability, passion. You would need hours of someone's most intimate moments.
Know that I have to keep my circle really, really small. Right now, I'm used to having a really big circle, so it's hard because I want to reach out to everybody and tell you how much I love you and I miss you.
In February 2024, after JP Miller had Mica committed to Waccamaw Mental Health Facility, someone methodically erased her digital life. Her phone wiped clean, her laptop emptied. But they left something behind. Hours of recorded sermons capturing every nuance of her voice, every breath, every whisper, every desperate prayer.
This is the best way that I know how, so I love you all. I miss you.
Let's hear Mica's 911 call one more time.
Robeson County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
I'm about to kill myself. And I just want my family to know where to find me.
Okay, ma'am. Just listen to what I'm saying, okay?
I need to be honest with you. What you just heard wasn't Mica's voice at all. It was an artificial recreation I made in just 30 seconds using a free voice cloning tool. No payment required, no registration needed, not even a name. Just one of hundreds of AI voice generators available to anyone with an internet connection.
If you were just talking for 3 seconds, I could clone your voice using very commonly available tools on the internet right now.
Now imagine what someone could do with hours of Mica's recorded sermons. 2 voices, one real,
I'm about to kill myself.
one artificial.
I'm about to kill myself.
Both haunting in their implications about what happened in those 9 minutes between the call and the gunshot at Lumber River State Park. And for those thinking it's impossible to make an AI voice say anything you want.
This is not my real voice, but one created by Johnny Llama.
Yeah, I will say though, someone very close to JP Miller uses AI. He actually specializes in that field, and I believe is capable of generating Mica's voice in real time.
I began investigating this case on April 28th, while JP Miller stood before his congregation at Solid Rock Ministries, explaining away his wife's death. Through dozens of encrypted messages and hushed conversations with church members too terrified to speak openly, one name kept surfacing. A name that would prove crucial to understanding what happened in those 9 minutes between Mica's final call and the gunshot. Tom Winslow, JP Miller's attorney. Tom Winslow wasn't just another attorney. His law practice proudly advertised its use of artificial intelligence technology.
AI. Who would have thought that in a legal scenario 20 years ago when I started practicing that AI would be the next lawyer?
And in February 2024, he worked alongside JP Miller to have Mica committed to Waccamaw Mental Health Facility. The same month, someone methodically erased her digital life while preserving hours of her recorded voice. But there was something else about Winslow that raised questions. He owned 200 acres of dense woodland backing up to the creek where Mica's body was found. Land that had sat untouched for years until the day after federal investigators arrived. That's when Winslow suddenly instructed his property manager to begin clearing the overgrown terrain. The questions about Lumber River State Park lingered. Why would Mica drive 32.7 miles, exactly 41 minutes from her last known location, to a remote section of the park? And why that spot specifically, across the creek from 200 acres of dense woodland owned by JP Miller's attorney, Tom Winslow? That morning at Lumber River State Park, Johnny Jacobs encountered 3 men in a boat. Their exchange would later raise its own troubling questions.
Plainly asked them, I said, "Did y'all hear that gunshot?" They said yes.
However, when Jacobs mentioned the crying he heard before it, they all denied hearing anything. Despite a federal investigation, these 3 witnesses have never been identified. They've never come forward to explain why they were on the water that morning, or why they heard the gunshot, but not the crying that preceded it. The physical evidence raised even more questions. Multiple shell casings scattered near the water's edge, a live round unfired, and the gun found 100 feet away in what appeared to be stagnant water.
I believe that the whole thing was premeditated. It is as if she was placed there.
Within weeks, both Winslow and JP Miller went silent. The church website disappeared. Could this all be coincidence? Perhaps. But even coincidences leave patterns.
I don't want to lose myself in this, and I don't want to pursue anything out of anger, vengeance, or anything like that. I just want to be free and have peace and keep my soul right. So,
For months, Mica Miller left a trail of evidence so clear it reads like a cry for help. Razor blades methodically placed in her tires, GPS trackers hidden beneath her car, a March restraining order documenting years of alleged abuse that began when she was just 14, each piece of paper marking another attempt to escape. So maybe she did make that final call. Maybe she did drive those 32.7 miles to Lumber River State Park. Maybe she did stop at that precise spot across the creek from land owned by her husband's attorney. But if she did, it wasn't because she wanted to die. It was because after months of surveillance, after years of control, after a lifetime of manipulation that began before she could legally drive, she believed she had run out of options. All options except for one. They say tattooing is about transformation, the moment when ink meets skin and something permanent takes shape. But sometimes, the deepest marks are the ones that never heal. Like the dreams of a 14-year-old girl whose innocence was stolen by a man who called himself a pastor, or the razor blade marks in her tires from a husband who refused to let her fly free. A man who preached forgiveness and compassion from the pulpit each Sunday, but even after her death, refused Mica's family one final request: to let her rest in peace under her family name, Mica Francis. In death, as in life, he insisted on keeping her bound to his. Mica's story, etched not in ink, but in the hearts of those who refused to let her voice be silenced, speaks of a woman who dreamed of sharing God's word, who found the courage to speak when a system tried to silence her, who chose freedom when others demanded submission. Her truth, like the most permanent of tattoos, has become indelible, a beautiful signature that echoes through time. Rest in peace, beautiful Mica Francis. I'm your host, Johnny Lama. Thank you for listening to The Signature. As federal investigators continue to uncover new evidence in Mica's case, I'll be posting regular updates here. If you believe these stories need to be told, if you believe in shining light on the patterns that connect seemingly isolated tragedies, please subscribe. You can find links to my other shows in the description below. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE. If you're having thoughts of suicide, please call or text 988 to reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Help is available 24 hours a day.
If I end up with a bullet in my head, it was not by me. It was JP.